Secondly, false security leads to indulgent living. One way that we fight off thoughts of God's judgment is to indulge ourselves. We do it by our indulgent lifestyle. Notice what happened to Israel in verses 4 through 6. Who lie on beds of ivory, stretch out on your couches, eat lambs from the flock and calves from the midst of the stall, who sing idly to the sound of string instruments, and invent for yourselves musical instruments like David, who drink wine from bowls and anoint yourselves with the best ointments, but are not grieved for the affliction of Joseph. These verses are unlike anything else in the writings of all the prophets. We don't see this kind of description given anywhere else in the prophecies of the Old Testament. It's a picture of a society that's consumed with self-indulgence. A people who are so into themselves that they don't recognize anything else going on in the world. Amos describes a panorama of a life of luxury to the point of brutishness, an animalistic approach to life, if you will. Everything that Amos mentions here represents what had once been available only to royalty. Yet now the everyday people found available. That generation, he says, reclined on beds of ivory, draping themselves across couches, being sprawled in a stupor, if you will, unable to control themselves. They ate the choicest lambs of the flock. Only the very choicest of the veal would satisfy their appetites. They amused themselves by extemporizing musical stringed instruments. The Hebrew word used here suggests a screeching quality to their sounds. They were so amused by themselves. Their music was painful to the ears of God. Incidentally, I think that we have a lot of music like that in our world today. A lot of music that's intolerable and painful to the ears of God even. They drank their wine not out of goblets or glasses, but out of bowls, large bowls. They anointed themselves with the ointments of the greatest kinds. Now, no one or two of these things in and of themselves is that terrible. But the picture here is one of unbridled luxury. All of this stuff going on amongst the people of Israel. And it tenderized the moral society of that nation, that once great nation. And the awful irony of their position is that they didn't even see the wound in their midst. They were immersed in a vortex of pleasure, if you will, and didn't see the flagrant sore in the midst of their very society. How much in common do we today have with them? With Amos's generation. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with living in relative comfort. But are we guilty of self-indulgence to the point where we no longer feel a need to depend upon God?